The battle continues to prevent radioactivity from spreading at Japan's quake-damaged Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. The plant operator's been pumping huge amounts of water in to prevent a meltdown of the nuclear fuel rods, but now faces the problem of where to store the contaminated water. Officials acknowledged radioactive iodine from the complex may be making its way into seawater around a mile more than 1.5 kilometers north of the site. The leak of radioactivity may be coming from the plant's Unit 2 in particular. Japan's Chief Cabinet Secretary Yukio Edano says there may have been a partial meltdown of that reactor core.
It's likely that the water inside the nuclear fuel vessel had some sort of contact with the temporarily dissolved fuel through some channel and leaked out.
Edano urged residents to stay out of the 12-mile or 20-kilometer evacuation zone around the plant. But environmental activists like Greenpeace claim health dangers extend beyond that. Campaigner Jan van de Putte was using a Geiger counter to measure radiation on Sunday.
We are here at the Itate village, which is about 40 kilometers from the Fukushima nuclear reactor. People are still living their daily life here, but radiation levels are very high, and we strongly recommend people to move out of this area.
To add to Japanese uneasiness, massive aftershocks were still rattling the northeast region more than 2 weeks after the massive 9.0 magnitude quake that knocked out power to the nuclear plant's cooling system and triggered a devastating tsunami that wrecked towns up and down the coast. Monday's tremor registered magnitude 6.5, but no damage or injuries were reported.
Hey YouTube, Freedom for Kaz here. Hey guys, I'm making a video today in reference to the Japanese crisis that's going on with the radiation and all the plutonium and all the other radiation particles that are getting into the air and into the water. Now, in my honest opinion, I know that they're not telling us everything that there is to know. And the reason why I say that is because if you look at any past problems that have happened, like the most recent with the Gulf oil spill, and then you look at 9/11, all the people who have gotten cancer and who have died for 9/11, as far as the helpers go, and if you look back in any government's history, whenever there's a major problem, they never tell you the truth about what's going on or how severe the problem is. So today I'm being very proactive, and I've kind of taken it upon myself to want to educate a lot of you folks out there as to the seafood that's in the Pacific Ocean. Okay? Now they're flushing these reactors with water, whether it be fresh water or seawater, it doesn't make no difference. They've poured so much water on the reactors that it's basically uncountable how many gallons they've put into these things. Now the problem is that yes, a majority of it ends up being radiated steam that goes into the atmosphere. Then those particles float across the world, as we know. But along the way, a lot of those radiation particles fall into the ocean. Now, just like in Chernobyl, when their reactor blew up, okay, the problem with Chernobyl is that the radiation fell onto the grass. The cows then ate the grass, which meant the radiation was ingested. The radiation got into the cows, into the meat, into their milk. That was then ingested by humans. The radiation was now ingested into the human. And then again, that radiation was passed on to the offspring of the humans who had the radiation by either a child being born or a child drinking breast milk from its mother. Now all that is documented and you can check on that. So it's no surprise to me that the radiation that's getting into the Pacific Ocean is being wrongfully disregarded by the governments because they're not telling you that. Now, honestly, is the situation so dire that they haven't tested the animals in the Pacific Ocean yet? It could be possible. It is still pretty early to get the focus onto the animals of the Pacific Ocean, but if we learn by experience and we saw what happened in Chernobyl, it's almost identical as what's going to happen with the Pacific Ocean. Now, again, with the food chain, the smaller animals eat the plants, and then the bigger fish eat the smaller animals, and things like that. So let's continue on with the video. I didn't know this, and during my research I found out that there's over 300 species of seafood that humans eat out of the Pacific Ocean. And that is just, I was blown away by that. There's over 300 species of animals, seafood, eaten out of the Pacific Ocean. And that goes all the way from the Baja Peninsula all the way up to Alaska. And there are just hundreds and hundreds of fisheries in the Pacific Ocean. And again, as always, the links are going to be underneath, and there are some really proactive links here. You can really, find a lot about what's going on here with these links. There's a lot of great information, and I really encourage you to check out the links for yourself. Now, it's funny because I came across some other regulations, and they suggested seafood to eat and what not to eat prior to the radiation exposure to the Pacific Ocean. And again, I know that like this article here, for instance, it says U.S. seafood industry braces for Japan crisis impact. Okay, so some of the fisheries and some of the companies on the entire west coast of America, Canada, and Mexico are well understanding what this is going to cause. And honestly, you take things like tuna is probably one of the most widely digested sea animals that that humans eat. I would say that salmon is up there too. The king crabs, the Pacific shrimp. All of these things are highly digested by humans and in great quantity too. So knowing this, again, there's articles underneath that are talking about how the radiation is getting into the seawater. Well, whether they're pumping the water right into the ocean or whether they are holding the radiated water in a tank. But what are they going to do with the radiated water? I mean, they got to do something with it eventually. So I just want to, bring this forth that I did put some good work into this. I did put some good effort into this. And there are some really, really very interesting links in the bottom. And again, you can do some great research on your own. In the description area, there's going to be an entire list of the most common seafood eaten out of the Pacific. Now, not all 300 are going to be there because I would be there for about 4 or 5 days making that list. But I would say there's every bit of about 40 or 50 species that I put down there that seem to be like in the top 50 animals that are eaten out of the Pacific Ocean. Now, you may want to consider whether or not you do or do not want to consider eating these animals. I myself have made the decision that as of like April 16th, I am going to be done eating tuna for a long time, if not forever. There's a lot of seafood that ends up in restaurants that comes out of the Pacific Ocean, namely the Alaskan salmon, the Alaskan king crab, like I said, tuna, mahi-mahi comes out of the Pacific Ocean. And like I said, the list will be underneath. And I did a lot of work with this. Again, I just want to raise awareness to you folks that you may want to curb your diet a little bit to not eat seafood, probably for an extended time, because let's use Chernobyl as a catalyst as to what can happen. I mean, the cities around Chernobyl that were affected by that nuclear explosion are still, to this day, uninhabitable.